Hi guys! Welcome to the World's Flight. I've been wanting to do this series of videos for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. So I want to go back and just cover a little bit about how I actually got to this point. It started back when I was 9, and I decided I was going to be a pilot. That's what I was going to do. And then that continued until I decided I wanted to build rockets. And then I went to school to build rockets. But while I was there, I was like, well, I still think I want to do this pilot thing. So I found an airplane that you could buy the plans for, and once you go and find all the material for it and get it made up to the right dimensions, it should only cost about $4,000. And I decided, okay, I would really want to try and do that. And I was trying to do that my freshman and sophomore year of college, but I just didn't have enough money to do it. But the idea kept growing. I was like, I really want to share the experience of flight with somebody else. So I was like, okay, I bet I can take this design and add a seat to it. Because it really wasn't that complicated, and I figured with my sophomore year of engineering I could do it. So my junior year, though, I discovered YouTube. I discovered its power to share things with other people around the world. And I thought that was pretty incredible. So it's like, all right, what can I do with this that could possibly relate to my flight project? And I came up with this idea of, okay, what if I flew this airplane around the U.S. and then I showed everybody all the experiences, and maybe that'd be kind of cool. But then why stop at the U.S.? Why not do the whole world? Yeah, that's what I want to do. Because when I was in Germany, my family and I traveled a ton, and we had some pretty awesome experiences. And ever since then, I've always wanted to see the rest of the world and see what everybody else lives like. So I was putting the two ideas together. So during the summer and fall of 2012, NASA was keeping me way too busy to be working on this project. So I decided I had to take some time off. So I took the spring of 2013 off and just worked on this project full time. And I actually, during that time, discovered that this project really was feasible. So I figured it was feasible, but it was going to be pretty different from what I initially imagined. So some things that were changing was I was going to go with a full-blown kit. So this is going to be a 4-person aircraft, pretty big compared to the little 2-seater that I initially imagined. And that was going to require a lot more equipment, a lot more power in the engine. So there's a lot of cost increase there, but it was needed to really get across some of these crossings, some of the ocean crossings. I did a lot of outreach at various different events, trying to gauge interest for the project to see if people were actually interested in following along with something like this. And I also worked on building my networks for the project, and then doing a lot of refinement to the actual mission and the actual methods of this project. So what is it I'm trying to do, and how am I trying to do it? I also got my pilot's license this spring. So with that came my first real sponsor, which is pretty sweet, which is Monadnock Aviation. Towards the end of the spring, the reasons for trying to do this project kind of changed. They actually changed for the better. I decided to make it less about what I wanted to see, and I wanted to make it a lot more focused on what you guys want to see. I wanted to be able to provide a way for you guys to travel and to actually get the experience of traveling without having to take all this time and all this effort to try and create this project yourself. So I wanted you guys to feel like you're here on this trip with me, as if you're actually there. But the thing is, what I was trying to think of a way for people to actually feel like they're part of this adventure, that they're actually part of this travel, hasn't really been done before. If you guys watch a travel channel or something, it doesn't really feel like you're there. You don't actually get the essence of what the people are like, or what it's actually like to be there learning from them. So what I want to try and do with this project is actually create something that actually has that effect on us, that has something that you can relate to, that makes it more meaningful, that makes it real. And that's really what this project's all about. And so I started to, during the summer, I went back to NASA, and I managed to get in touch with and establish some relationships with the component manufacturers for the airplane. So the guys are making the engine, guys are making the actual airframe of the aircraft, all that stuff. So I got in touch with them, and many of them are pretty interested in the project, which is awesome. And they're willing to do what they can to help make the project success. Nobody was able to actually provide like a whole component or something like that, but they're willing to work with me, so it's pretty sweet. And that kind of leaves us with where we are today. And what I'm working on now is putting together like an advisory council for the project of different people that can help me with different aspects. So maybe somebody who can help me with the training, somebody who can help me with the actual flight plan, somebody who can actually help me with the building, different people like that. I'm also talking to the component manufacturers and working on proposals for all of those guys to get the final cost of the airplane to what we think it's going to be. So in order to make this whole thing happen, I got to find some funding from one source or another. So I'm putting together a campaign for a Kickstarter that's going to happen on October 4th. And in addition to the Kickstarter, I am trying to get some more traditional funding through sponsorship. So I've got a list of 10 companies, and I'm working on proposals for those guys, hoping to have those out in a couple of weeks or so. And then the third avenue of funding that I'm trying to take is actually turn this into a TV show. So I'm working with a couple of producers to make that happen, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what direction could we take this project to make it more intriguing to these different TV companies. We talked about maybe making it about makers and maker spaces, that whole subculture. So going around the world trying to find interesting people making different stuff and different maker spaces, stuff like that. And another way is maybe we just focus on young innovators, so people who are in their teens or 20s that are working on some pretty interesting things. Let me know what you guys think of those two. Just still trying to come up with different ways to make it an interesting TV show. And that's where we are today. I think I'm going to make this kind of a daily thing. I don't expect that they'll be anywhere near as long as this, probably just a minute or two, so you guys can stay up to date with what's happening with the project. And I'm excited. I think that this whole video thing is going to be pretty cool for you guys, and I'll try and keep it entertaining and maybe add some extra stuff and not just the regular whole updates. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.